fight's not over.
Stop the fight!
People.
Everybody, I come here for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everyone. Ah!
All right, guys, welcome back to Broke Bets. Lane here. Also got my guy Carson with me. What's going on?
Yes, sir. UFC 296, the last card of the year, so let's finish out strong.
Yes. Stacked card, and let's just get right into it. First fight, we got Josh Emmett versus Bryce Mitchell. I gotta take Josh Emmett via via evolution. Sorry for the ear rape, everybody, but Bryce Mitchell, just the religious stuff, the Bible stuff. I mean, it's fun, it's funny. Somehow he's not trying to be funny. He's kind of like Mike Perry, like 2 or 3 years ago, when Mike's like, I'm not trying to be funny, but everyone keeps laughing. And Bryce is kind of that way too. But I gotta take Emmett here by decision. Yeah, what do you think here? I know you're kind of on the middle ground here.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Mitchell like creep up as a slightly bigger favorite now, like minus 180, which
it was pick'em earlier.
Yeah, that's what I think it should be. I just think the grappling will be too much for Emmett, but I mean, it's a huge stylistic difference than what Emmett was originally scheduled for in Giga Jikadze, and now he's going up against a grappler here now, and I just feel like on short notice, I mean Bryce Mitchell's on short notice, but I mean he's always got that grappling, so I just think it'll be too soon for Emmett coming in here.
At times I debate with Bryce Mitchell like where his motivation lies, because he spends so much time on social media debating people about the earth shape and shit like that. He should be more worried about if Josh Emmett's going to flatten his face, frankly. But he does have a crazy age advantage, Bryce, here, you know. And Emmett, a guy who in his last 2 fights has taken a lot of damage, you know, versus Yair just got blasted to the body. And then versus Topuria, where he just ate a million punches. And even in the Calvin Kattar fight, he took a lot of punches. So, yeah, taking a lot of damage isn't a good look, obviously, coming into a fight like this. But I feel like there's such a power advantage on the Emmett side. And we haven't seen Bryce finished via knockout. You know, Topuria did submit him, but, you know, there's a lot of heavy punches still landed. I just feel like Josh has more reasoning for damage at the end of this fight, because I wasn't convinced that Bryce Mitchell beat Dan Ige. I think that damage was totally on Dan Ige's side. Just compare their faces, but there's just grappling control, and the question is, can Bryce control Josh Emmett? And I think Josh Emmett hasn't spent much of his career on his back. He's also extremely thick and strong for this weight class, and I just don't see Bryce totally controlling him every round. So, that's why I like him.
Emmett's short, 5'6" against 5'10", so I mean, low center gravity could be tougher to get lower and get those takedowns for Mitchell. So, and I mean, it's an interesting fight. I think it should be a pick'em, especially on short notice here. So.
I think I'm gonna bet on Emmett, but I'm really gonna let this line float as high as it can possibly go if people are just gonna keep hammering the Mitchell side. Emmett stands so low to the ground already, too. Like you're saying, you know, he's 5'6". He kind of stands like he's 5'4", though, with his crouch stance. And Mitchell, I could see him trying to blast all the kicks in this fight because you don't really want to step into range on Emmett too much. But I do see some accuracy misses with Emmett in some of his recent performances, and I don't know, Bryce just doesn't defend his face the best, so I do think there's more opportunity here. There's a possibility for a knockout, obviously, but I'm going to go decision. He's been going to a lot of decisions here recently, so. Any more thoughts here?
Yeah, I wonder what Bryce Mitchell's walkout song will be, and if he'll be
I've been selling my soul. That's what's going to
Yeah, that one.
And then he's going to hold the Bible up before the fight, and freedom!
Yes.
Oh, God, I'm going to laugh so hard.
And a prayer after.
Yeah. All right, Emmett by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Andre Fili versus Lucas Almeida. I'm going to go on the Andre Fili side. However, there is just some gaps in his game that are somewhat evident at this point that I don't feel like I can bet on him. He's been getting hit quite a bit in some of these performances and taking damage not as well as he has in the past. That Joe Anderson Brito knockout's a good example, and obviously Nathaniel Wood hurt him multiple times. He hurt Nathaniel Wood, but at the same time getting clipped a lot by the smaller man. And I think in this fight, after Fili also watched what Pat Sabatini did to Almeida, there's a big opportunity here for Fili to use grappling as well as one of the bigger featherweights as well. So yeah, I'm going to take Fili by decision.
Yeah, interesting fight here as well. I just think Fili will be able to use his length a little bit more throughout that jab and, like you said, go to the grappling if necessary. I mean, even just to give that a look and just control a little bit of the time there.
And yeah, Almeida, violent on the feet. He's throwing hard punches, and I believe almost all of his wins are by finish.
Yeah, all of them are by finish. He is a finisher.
Right, so, I mean, Fili just got to, work on not getting clipped here. I would say that Lucas Almeida doesn't have the best striking defense, but it seems like his chin holds up pretty well through some of the wars he's been in. I mean, Trezano and him were just going left hook for left hook, and he ended up winning those exchanges. But, yeah, I'm going to take the Fili side here, but, yeah, a dodgeable fight in my opinion. All right, for the next fight, we have Shamil Gaziev versus Martin Buday. I'm going to let you kick this one off. Who do you think takes this one here?
Yeah, we're going Martin Buday here.
What's your reasoning?
Explanation here, I think Gaziev has lower level of competition that he's fought, and he's got about a round of cardio. I think the longer this fight goes, I think Buday will take over and possibly get a second, third round finish or decision, probably leaning towards a decision here. But I just think Gaziev has really basic striking. He just throws ones and twos and leaves his hands really low, and I think Buday will be able to capitalize on that. And he has a decent ground game, I guess, for a heavyweight, but so does Buday, and he's hard to take down. So,
right.
That's why I like Buday here.
I think also what you touched on with Gaziev, I feel like his striking shows to be pretty good against some people because of his natural size. His Contender Series opponent that he faced was 5'11", and just not a heavyeightweight at all. And then
I don't think he was all there. He was special needs.
He was special.
It seemed like it.
It kind of did have a little downsy look, but Shamil, I do think the scare for this fight, if you're looking at Buday, is that Shamil is a first-round fighter, it appears, and he's much more athletic, is what I'd say. Buday, this guy was a guy who played video games all the time. That's why his gut's so fucking big, and now it's came down in size a little bit, but it just feels like Buday's got the cardio, less fast twitch muscles, and Gaziev's gonna be faster to start the fight. So if you're looking at Buday, a live bet is kind of the position you need to take on him, at least in my opinion. The grappling is probably going to go in the way of Gaziev for the first round, and then again it's going to be Buday able to clinch him on the cage or something like that. So I think that Buday's level of competition isn't that great either. Parisian, Kelleher, Brzeski, Chris Barnett, and then Lorenzo Hood on the Contender Series. Just not a great list of fighters, but he has shown consistency. He's winning against all these, trash cans, and they have been in the UFC for a while, a lot of those guys. So,
but UFC trash cans, come on now.
Right. He's facing still legitimate heavyweights. Josh Parisian is god-awful, but he still weighs 260 pounds. Probably 280 pounds, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's Gaziev early in that first round or Buday late. If you go and watch the Darko Stovic fight with Shamil Gaziev, Darko knocked him down pretty early in that fight, and then he was able to recover and get back, and I think he finished him with an uppercut, pretty much a one-punch KO. So He's got power like pretty much every heavyweight, but yeah, it should be a really good fight here.
Final input I have, and something I just remembered, is that I feel like Gaziev had an interview after his Contender Series win, which was, a 2-minute long fight, and he could not catch his breath during the interview. And I was like, you were in a 2-minute fight in which you choked the guy out. Like, you'd imagine that you'd have better cardio. So that's a scare to me. And I know that's a anecdotal kind of thing for me to say, but anyway, Buday by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Cody Garbrandt versus Brian Kelleher. Taking Cody Garbrandt here, no love. I feel like Brian Kelleher is a stepping stone for a lot of people in this division. I mean, it's evident by his record. He's been around for a long time. He gets finished by higher level fighters quite a bit, and he is just put in some tough, like the last 2 fights that he's in are just horrible matchups for him. He lost to Ricky Simone. I feel like Cody will kind of do a similar thing. He'll try to use his grappling. Kelleher is kind of known to have a fast guillotine, and other than that, it's just not his game on the ground. And the Team Alpha Male guys, they're so good at either doing or defending guillotines, so I don't see Cody getting guillotined. I'm going to take him by decision, just hesitant in this last fight. And Brian Kelleher, not active enough as a striker to really, I think, take it over the fight or knock him out. So, what do you think?
Right. I mean, when Cody's losing, he's getting KO'd, but I just don't think Kelleher will have that ability here. And Garbrandt showed in his last fight he was willing to be patient and not go into those firefights like he has been doing and getting KO'd. So, with that in mind, I think he can use those kicks, be patient, wrestle a little bit, and win a decision here.
Yeah, and Trevin Jones is kind of similar to Brian Kelleher. Both these guys just sit on the back foot and look for the big overhand or whatever. And I don't know if Cody's just going to even engage because he's going to be scared of getting knocked out. And then he'll probably be emoting and bragging, and Joe Rogan will say it's the best performance he's ever seen. And Cody Garbrandt will, everyone else on the internet will disagree pretty much. So, any more thoughts here?
No, you nailed it.
All right, Garbrandt by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Alonzo Menifield versus Dustin Jacoby. Taking Dustin Jacoby here. I just think that I've seen a trend with Dustin Jacoby. When he has a speed advantage on fighters, he typically wins. And a good example of that would be Kenny Njoku, Daun Young. And actually, I think 3 good examples on this list, Oleg Zaychek, Khalil Roundtree, and Mirzakhanov, a little bit faster, smaller heavyweights, he struggled with. And I think he actually is kind of at better with the bigger guys. I'm going to take Jacoby here, my second round knockout. Just feels like he's going to be better in the striking here. And Menifield, while he is powerful on the feet, he does have 2 wins. I mean, I thought he won both fights. There's a point deduction in that first one versus Jimmy Crute. But Jimmy Crute just didn't have the fight IQ to even, contend for that win. So what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, Menifield's kind of on a little win streak here, knockout win streak here. But I think that turns here. I think Jacoby will be a little bit faster and moving in and out of range with that jab. I think Menifield will be he throws way too many hooks and he'll get tired pretty fast with those muscles. So I think Jacoby just throwing out that jab and those kicks, I think with that kickboxing style, he'll win this fight.
He's also got timing in his striking. I feel like Menifield's kind of just a brute strength guy. And if you look at these guys, I feel like Dustin Jacoby looks like he's in his 40s. And Menifield looks like he's in his 20s, but somehow Menifield is the older fighter here. Used to play football, whatever. But, I don't know. Cardio is a really interesting one for this, too, because Menifield's pretty strong in round 1, slows down a little bit, and his cardio has been looking better recently, but Jacoby himself has actually slowed down in some of these fights. In the Roundtree fight, lost round 3. In the Mirzakhanov fight was just getting pieced up and tired. And And then the Olic Zajac fight again, third round, just started to slow down. So interesting matchup. I am looking at the over 1.5 because I do think it's an opportunity. I don't know if I'll pull the trigger though. Let's see when that line comes out. Any more thoughts here for you?
No.
All right. Jacoby KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Randy Brown versus Muslim Salikhov. This is a great matchup, and I think the odds are completely twisted. I'm taking Muslim Salikhov. Randy Brown is on a string of, in my opinion, unimpressive performances and getting the nods in these close fights. And I think something that actually happens a lot is the taller fighter can be seen as the more threatening fighter, and judges can swing fights their way. But we're looking at a guy who debatably lost to Cass Williams. I thought he won that one. But then I thought he actually lost to Trinaldo, gets finished by JDM, and debatably lost against Turman. And Turman is just not that good of a fighter. And Salikhov, debatably, I think one of the best first round fighters in the sport. He is extremely good when he's fresh, and I'm going to take him by a first round knockout when he's fresh. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think his kryptonite is slowing down a little bit, Salikhov, and like you said, he's really strong in round 1. And Brown, I mean, I don't know. I think he's just really long and lengthy, and that's his upside, I guess. But yeah, I could see Salikhov coming in early and finishing him. Brown gets a little too cocky, it feels like, and could leave his chin up and get KO'd here.
I just feel like he's the much worse version of a Jalen Turner up a weight class. And like you said, cocky. He dropped Francisco Trinaldo in their fight, and then he watched him get up and recover. Salikhov too, the dude was piecing up Nicholas Dalby all day in that fight until the end of the first round. A head kick kind of caught him on the back of the head and definitely changed the momentum of the fight. But like you said, slowing down, that's the kryptonite. And even so, Randy Brown hasn't been in these high-pace, crazy fights that I'm not even sure if Salikhov will slow down to the point where he loses this. I mean, you look at the Andre Fiallo fight, and Salikhov fought extremely well, finished him in round 3. So I love this matchup. I love the underdog spot here. And I think just the crazy ability of Salikhov. You're talking about a guy who works the body, who can box, has great timing, and then obviously the spinning kicks are the name of the game. And Randy Brown got his leg chewed up by Turman and did literally nothing to account for it. He just watched his leg get chewed up, and that's how he started to lose the fight. So maybe Salikhov implements some of that. And last thought, Salikhov should not try to wrestle in this fight. I think that just drains his gas tank every time it happens. So hopefully he strikes and cashes as a big dog for us. I'm betting on him. So are you gonna?
We'll see.
Watch the line.
I want to see what that line goes to. Yeah.
All right. Muslim Salikhov KO round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Casey O'Neill versus Ariane Lipski. A very good matchup. I'm taking the little win streak here from Ariane Lipski, who's came in, cashed as an underdog twice in a row now, and looks to be much improved with her takedown defense. Also, babe. She's a babe. And Casey O'Neill, I don't know why. People like her a lot more, and I think Ariane Lipski is just... there's levels to this game is what I should say, but I think Lipski wins this one by a decision. I think if you have the option to bet a split decision here, it's probably a pretty great option. I think that Ariane Lipski's shown that she can stop takedowns now, and Casey O'Neill, not the strongest girl, pretty scrawny actually, might struggle to get this fight to the ground. So what are you thinking here?
Yeah, I mean, I see it going the distance as well. Last few fights for O'Neill haven't been that great. I mean, Jennifer Maia and then Roxanne Modaffari. I mean, I think Maia's out of the UFC now, and Modaffari's teaching English in Japan. So I think Ariane Lipski's last few fights have been a lot more impressive. She's been on this little win streak here of 2 and looking to make it 3 as an underdog in all of them. So,
right.
Yeah, I think Casey O'Neill pretty much does the same thing, throwing 1s and 2s and has some pressure. But, yeah, she's throwing the same combinations, and I think Lipski will be able to read those and counter and land the more damaging shots here.
Yeah, she's. I will give it to Casey O'Neill. She is very high volume, and that really helps for chicks to win fights. But maybe landing the big shots could be a struggle for her. Pushing Ariane back could be a problem. Ariane doesn't really have the best head movement, so it could be one of those 1-2s. But not much power on the feet on the Casey O'Neill side either. So
yeah, she seems slow.
Yeah, I see this one as kind of as a pick'em. The one thing I'll give Casey good credit for that Ariane won't really do is Casey, pretty much when she throws the 1-2, like you're saying, it's like the 2 is right behind the 1, and it's just a good combo that she has going for her. Girls don't defend that shit well, so Lipski's kind of one strike at a time type of girl, but yeah. Gotta take the underdog in what probably should be more of a pick'em price here. So, Lipski by decision. Okay, for the next fight, we have Irene Aldana versus Karol Rosa. Taking Irene Aldana, big girl, big strong girl. Fell short against Amanda Nunes, but overall, the better boxer in my eyes. Physically more imposing girl, and we've seen Karol Rosa getting stuck in the clinch at times, and she does have good elbows in some of the parts of her game, but she's kind of beating girls that, I don't know, just don't impress me. Beth Correa, Lena Landsberg, I believe retired now, and then Yana Santos, who is like the worst fight IQ of all time. So I'm going to take Irene Aldana by decision. Kind of a weird one because it is like a ranked fight. I guess Karol Rosa isn't ranked, but she's damn near 4 versus 18 on the at least Tapology rankings. What do you think happens in this fight?
Yeah, I think Aldana will have the better boxing, better striking here. Like you said, little taller and longer, so I think she'll use that to her advantage. I think, for Aldana, the Macy Chason fight, she was probably losing that fight until that up kick to the liver, but Chason seems much improved. So, yeah, I think I got to go Aldana here.
And she's struggling with kind of the physically imposing strong girls of the division, and I don't think Karol Rosa really embodies that. So, Irene Aldana by decision. All right, for the next fight, we have Tagir Ulanbekov versus Cody Durden. Cody Durden, similar to Ariane Lipski, cashing as an underdog time after time after time after time after time. And Tagir, a guy who's kind of more in the favorited odds because he's Russian, he trains with Habib and all this group. We're going to go on the Cody Durden side. I do think this is probably somewhat accurate odds, but again, Cody Durden's just pulling out these wins. He's actually really impressed me with his striking. I thought Jake Hadley would piece him up and Cody Durden would just get dead tired in that fight, but he actually was just jumping in with elbows on Hadley, piecing him up. And Tagir, he does have good long range weapons like a jab and a push kick, but I do think Durden has the ability to take him down if he really wants to. Tagir has good scrambles, but Durden's ground game is shown to be very nice. So I'm going to take Durden by decision.
Yeah, I mean, Durden's super well-rounded. He was really impressive in the Jake Hadley fight. Tough as well. Even cardio, too. He kind of, seems to be tired, but he still fights through it and wins those later rounds. So, I like what I've seen from him. He's got the American crowd on his side here in this one as well. So, a little extra motivation for him. I think he can pull this one off.
Right. I think the scare for this fight for Durden is that Tagir has a very natural guillotine that he just twists into, similar to Said Nurmagomedov. And, he caught Nate Maness with that, but he also did it to, Alan Nashmento. He almost submitted him. It's just kind of that natural low elbow that comes in, and if he gets in that slot, they just get that high crank on it and finish the fight. But Durden, I think, like, very underrated in and out of range. And I think if Durden fought Mikhaev again, if they rematched, I think Durden would beat him. And also pretty underrated power. I think he can step in and do some damage. Tagir gotten taken down by Tim Elliott quite easily. I still thought Tagir won that fight. When we watched it, there's some offenses that Tim Elliott as well did, like grabbing the gloves, cage grab, and shit like that. But again, Durden, I feel like he's just kind of a leveling up fight by fight. So let's take advantage of him here. Any more thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, really good fight here. I'm looking forward to it.
Just got to make sure that his cardio holds up. That's the main thing, because Tagir, I think, will be okay with the pace of whatever the fight is. So,
right.
Durden by decision. All right, Vicente Luque versus Ian Gary. Not going to say that middle name. Simp! Cuck!
Wag.
We're going with Ian Gary, though. If this was Vicente Luque 2 or 3 years ago, I probably would have taken Vicente Luque, but accumulation of damage in his career, and it's weird to say because he's 32 years old, but has just a lot of damage accrued in a couple of fights, and it just feels like his head movement isn't all there, and especially in that RDA fight, he did a great job winning it. He kind of showed that he was a little bit nervous whether he could take a shot or not yet, and there might be some hesitation in throwing. And Ian Gary, as we've seen, all this guy wants to do is just sit on the outside and try to touch, and move, and that's really his goal. So I'm curious if we'll see a Luque of old. That would make this matchup pretty amazing, but I do think Luque is just a little bit hesitant to fully engage, so we're going Gary by decision.
Yeah, I think Gary will be utilizing those low kicks, leg kicks. I really put him on Neil Magny in that last fight, and pretty much, I mean,
how did he not finish the fight? That was the question.
Right. And then, like you said, on the outside, using that jab. So, yeah, I mean, I think Ian Gary wins this one. I think if Luque, yeah, like you said a couple of years ago, if he could take a shot, maybe. But, yeah, I think Ian Gary takes this one.
Well, yeah, that was a story of Luque's fight with Jeff Neal, was just not enough head movement, keeping his head on the center line. And if you're just going to stay there, I think Ian Gary's just going to touch move. He's going to do like the Floyd Mayweather dance, probably do nothing too crazy, and maybe mix in some kicks to the body and shit here and there. But for the most part, probably Ian Gary just walking away with this one. I really don't have any more thoughts. Do you?
No, not really. I mean, I think it's pretty explanatory how this fight goes. I
do wonder. I don't think Ian Gary's really too affected by the shit talked about him online, because I think he is just a little bit of a psychopath. But it might motivate him more, if anything. If that's.
I mean, he took off his comments from his Instagram page. I saw.
Maybe it is affecting him. I don't know.
Yeah, he might be a little soft.
Who knows? But either way, I think if people are making fun of you online, that's just giving you more motivation, if anything. So, Gary by decision. All right, for the next fight, we have Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett. I am going with Tony Ferguson. And, gotta do a little Tony Ferguson gig here. Oh my god, sunglasses are dark. This game is full of rats. But I'm a turtle. Ninja Turtle. Michelangelo's my favorite. What's yours? I just feel like Tony's just going to be a step ahead in the power on this game. I just feel like Paddy's getting hit too much on the feet. I can hardly fucking see the screen. Tony Ferguson, I just feel like he's those big hands. That's been the story of his career, is having big mitts. And Paddy Pimblett, getting hit by Jared Gordon, who's kind of a pillow puncher. And at least we know with Tony Ferguson, I know he's training with David Goggins. There's a lot of controversy there, but we know he's training. Whereas I feel like for the scheduled fight with the Leech, which then got changed to Nate Diaz. I just don't even think he was training for that. So I'm going to take Tony Ferguson by a knockout. And what do you think here? I know you're kind of divided on this fight.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Tony's been taking too much damage, and he's 39 years old, and now looks like he's training for a marathon and not a fight.
True.
Yeah, I mean, Patty's Patty. He's coming off an ankle surgery. Wonder how that affects him. He's been out for a year due to that, so hasn't been so active of late. But I still think he's good enough to beat a 39-year-old Tony Ferguson. Probably not 3 years or 4 years ago, but at this point, I do think he'll be able to win. I don't know where he wins. I'll probably get tagged early on, maybe knocked down like Michael Chandler did, and then win two, finish him in 2 or 3. But
the main thing for this fight, I feel like for Tony, is he's got to stay off his back. That's where he's losing these fucking fights. And there are some crazy good names on the Tony Ferguson list, like that he's losing to. It's Charles Oliveira. There's Justin Gaethje. There's Beneil, Michael Chandler. Those are all guys who are ranked in the top 10 in the lightweight division. And then, Nate Diaz, obviously, and Bobby Green. But he dropped Bobby Green in that fight, and it seemed like he also rocked him standing another time. And I think it's those big mitts. And Bobby Green, as we know, has great striking defense. And Patty, you look at his game, this guy doesn't really land a lot of takedowns. He's actually facing some people who are trying to take him down. Jared Gordon tried a couple times. Jordan Levitt was all wrestling approach when he fought Patty. And, Patty's...
Levitt probably won that first round.
Right, and Patty's jiu-jitsu is very tricky, but he's got to shoot takedowns here on Tony, and I know it's a risk. I know Tony's a big underdog, but he's got to fucking stay on his feet and give sand. Maybe he wins this fight. Even when he was facing Bobby, he was, trying to take Bobby down at times, and Bobby was able to transition it. So main thing for Tony, just stay on the feet and fucking piece this kid up. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it really affected him or not, but he did get eye poked in the Bobby Green fight.
True.
And he seemed to get worse after that point. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it, maybe, but
right.
Yeah. I mean, Patty's winning. He's usually winning by finish, aside from that Gordon fight, and Tony's super hard to finish. So,
and I do think that the Nate Diaz fight to the Bobby Green fight, I do think Bobby actually looked better in those two fights. Like, I think he did look better in the Bobby Green fight. Still, obviously not good, but step up for Paddy Pimblett, a lose-lose situation, as he said. And it feels like one of those scenarios where everyone's making fun of Tony Ferguson for training with David Goggins, and then somehow it'll pay off. So I don't know how it will, but this guy's fought a lot. He has some experience. Hopefully it'll pay off. And I don't see Paddy as now a minus 400 favorite, I believe he is. So
yeah, that's a little ridiculous.
Tony time, KO round 2. Okay, for the next fight, we have Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Sorry, nice motherfucker. We're going with Shavkat here. Grappling advantage. Big deal. Wonderboy was on the campaign to get the non-grapplers role, and he got Kevin Holland, and then he's going right back to Grappler Alley. We're going to take Shavkat by submission. I just think Shavkat... we'll go round 1 when they're most dry. I think his takedowns aren't incredible from what I've seen, but he is physically just really large and strong. And the guillotine IQ is actually really high. Like, he's pulling guillotines with like 20 seconds left in a round because he knows it doesn't hurt him at all to burn that energy right then and give up that position. So there's that opportunity. Obviously, the submission he got on Jeff Neal was just unreal. And Wonderboy, just pushed against the fence too many times by too many of these guys. So, what do you think? Yeah,
I mean, Wonderboy was scheduled to fight Michelle Pereira a few months back, and now Pereira misses weight, and now he's fighting Shavkat. So, yeah, I don't really like that for Thompson at all. I think Shavkat has the clear advantage on the ground. I think he'll be able to take advantage of that and win via submission, but something's got to give. Shavkat has a 100% finish rate, and Wonderboy's never been submitted before. It's been KO'd once, but most of his losses are by decisions.
And if you're looking at the two grapplers that he did most recently lose to, those guys, they don't ever hunt submissions. I mean, Gilbert does have like crazy jiu-jitsu credentials, but for the most part, he just tries to out-wrestle people, and Bilal never goes for a submission. Everyone knows that. So, I don't know. It feels pretty straightforward. The one note I do have for Shavkat is that a guy like this, he had a lot of confidence in his chin in that Jeff Neal fight, and he ate some big shots. Something you can't really play around with as much with Wonderboy, I feel like, or just throughout your career, because that's just shortening your career longevity for a guy who has so much talent to not have that happen. So, yeah. Any more thoughts here?
No, that's a really good point. He did eat some huge shots in that Jeff Neal fight. I was worried about my minus 500 bet on him, but
right.
Yeah, he obviously pulled through, but yeah, it's very worrisome.
All right, Shavkat submission round 1. Okay, for the next fight, we have Alexandre Pantoja versus Brandon Raw Dog Royval. Taking Brandon Royval here as an underdog. He just makes these matchups so tough on anybody. And we have a saying here at Broke Bets, which is rematches they typically don't play out the same way. I actually do think that this fight will play out very similar in the style it's played out, which is just Brandon Royval chaos. It's just a wrecking ball coming forward, doing crazy shit. And Brandon Royval, if you watch their first fight, made Pantoja slow down like crazy to a crazy level before he got submitted in round 2. And I feel like Brandon Royval can sustain this high pace that Pantoja can't. And something extraordinarily crazy about Brandon Royval's game is that if you try to wrestle this guy, you will get like it's kryptonite. It's horrible. Like Pantoja tried to do it, Kai Kara France tried to do it, and it's just his long, lanky, flexible jiu-jitsu. It gets everyone tired. And if you're gonna play around in the game, you might submit him, like if you're as good as Pantoja, but for the most part, he can out-scramble a lot of the positions and get back up to his feet, and you're going to be exhausted. So I know Pantoja's never been knocked out before, but I feel like Royval just throws so many heavy attacks that Pantoja's just going to go down after some point. So what do you think?
Yeah, a really good matchup here. Like you said, Pantoja never been finished before, but when Royval's winning, I mean, most of his wins are by finish. So something's got to give. I think Pantoja will be on the gas early, trying to get those takedowns. Like you said, in their last fight, Royval did a really good job scrambling and always rolling when Pantoja was on his back. So that seemed to wear out Pantoja, but Pantoja obviously was able to get that rear naked choke. But when going for those takedowns, I think when Pantoja's going for those takedowns, I think Royval could catch him with a knee or something. Early on in that fight, the first takedown attempt that Pantoja got, Royval was super close to landing that knee up front. So I think he could land one of those. Should be a really good fight, but yeah, it's hard to pick a side here.
I mean, something crazy about Alexandre Pantoja is he just kind of has the thing that Dreykus Duplessis has, the thing that we talked about with Cody Durden, where they get extraordinarily tired and they fight through the exhaustion and just keep going. And Pantoja, he did that versus Royval. And something scary about his game is that, scary to his opponents, you could say, is that even when he's tired, he keeps on getting the back on all these guys. Like, when he beat Brandon Moreno in this last fight, the last 2 rounds, he was backpacking him, and Brandon couldn't stop him from getting off his back even when Pantoja's exhausted. And then Royval, he gives up the back, and then it's trouble for him to get out of that position. And he can do that when he's tired and he recovers, gains a little cardio back. But I do feel like the offensive weapons for Royval have also improved. Like you said, the knee that won him the last fight. We got that prediction right because he's so unorthodox. He's coming in with knees, elbows, and an advantage that he should take advantage of here is what Islam Makhachev did to Volkanovski, which is just spamming the left kick, whether it's to the body or to the head, because he's the taller guy, Pantoja's the shorter guy, and he's kind of got to pick whether to protect his head or body. So I like that tool as well. There's just so many details that are fun to this fight. What are some more of your thoughts?
Yeah, fun flyweight fight. I think Raw Dog's got that length, 4-inch height advantage here. Yeah, I mean, I really like those knees up the front. I think that could be the X factor here in this one.
Yeah, and his chin actually is held up very well. Like, he got hit with the biggest punch maybe the flyweights have seen from Kai Kara-France, flush, and then just spinning elbowed Kai Kara-France right following that. And the look on some of these guys' faces after a round and a half with Brandon Royval, like Kai Kara-France's face, was just like, I don't want to be here. I'm exhausted. I'm like, and you got a 5-round fight scheduled with that. It's just not a good sign. And I won't even deny the option that Royval could find a submission in this fight, just because he is so tricky on the ground himself. Pantoja would be better on the back, but you never know with a crazy guillotine from these guys. Something crazy could happen. But I do plan on betting Brandon Royval or the under if it's placed at 3.5 rounds. I'll think about it. But for the most part, I'm just thinking Brandon Royval in this case here. So I'm assuming you're going to stay away from this fight.
Yeah, I'm staying away. I mean, when Royval's winning, he's usually winning by finish, but Pantoja's never been finished before, so that kind of turns me away from it. So.
Kind of every time they set up one of these flyweight title fights, it's like automatic fight of the year contender. So
yeah, I really like the flyweight division.
All right, Royval KO round 3. Okay, guys, welcome to the main event prediction. Of course, drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Main event, we got Leon Edwards versus Colby Covington for the welterweight title. I'm staying on the side of Leon Edwards here. Colby, as much as we are fans of him just because he's in some fun fights, and I really like watching people with amazing cardio just push a pace. I feel like Colby's way to winning this fight is just absolutely nailing that approach, and it needs to be from the start of the fight all the way to the end. He needs to be on Leon Edwards, whereas I just don't think I've seen all of that from him. He was playing some striking with Jorge, and I think there's just minutes where Leon can win the damage game. I think he's just so much better on the feet in terms of damage, because Colby does have pretty decent hands, underrated hands, but there's just not power behind his shots. And I think Leon will just outpoint him here to a decision. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if Colby wins, it's obviously going to be with that pace and pressure, getting Leon on the cage and dragging him down and just working on him. Yeah, I mean, we saw Leon slow down in that first Kamaru-Usman fight, but that was at altitude. I assume that had some effect to it, but he still slowed down really early in that second, or I guess third Usman fight, the last one. Mm-hmm. Usman just seemed like so hesitant in that. So
that's what I was gonna say too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like he was like pushing that pace on him, which was weird. I mean, probably a little hesitant from getting KO'd so brutally, but yeah, I think if Colby does go out there and pushes that pace, drags on him, wears on him, and isn't playing that range game, kicking game with Leon, I think he could win this one. But yeah, I think Leon might be just a little bit too good, more active, younger as well. Colby's getting out there; he's like 35, almost 36 years old, and at welterweight, that's not too good. So yeah, I do lean Leon with the point fighting here, elbows, knees, and the clinch as well. He's really good at that. So, yeah, I think he wins the decision.
And you have to also think that Leon's had 9 months to prepare for this fight. Dana White said right after the title defense from Leon that it was going to be Colby next, and Leon can instantly just take everything Colby does and break it down and just find defense, and that's kind of what he did for Kamaru's game. And I do really think that point that you said with Kamaru is super accurate, because I noticed that Kamaru kept on going to the clinch, but he would never drop his knees to the ground for a takedown, maybe because his knees are fucked up or whatever, but Colby always is putting his knees straight on the mat and just chain wrestling you, and that's something that Kamaru is just not that great at, and that Colby's just much more advantaged at. So, like we said, if Colby just starts this fight, gets the muscles heavy in Leon Edwards in round 1, and breaks his will rounds 2 and 3, he's probably going to just win this decision. But I just think that the feeling out process, he lets a round go by, he gets hit by a couple punches by Leon, he's going to be like, oh shit, I got to stay out of range and really pick when I go in. That's kind of when Leon capitalizes, and he's just going to take minute after minute, take the damage, all the points for the damage the judges could score, and obviously I just think it's just going to be pretty one-sided on the feet. Kamaru had the power to kind of neutralize some of the things Leon was doing, and Colby doesn't. What else is going through your mind?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just at the odds, I feel like Leon will be a bigger favorite, probably. He might get to like minus 200. Like, what, minus 140, 145 right now, so that might entice me a little bit to bet on Colby then, but yeah, obviously not right now.
I feel like this fight too, like I don't want to bet on Leon, because I do feel like a fight like this, it could be 50-45 Colby, or it could be 50-45, or like I would say like 49-46 Leon. Like, Colby probably wins one of the rounds just from grinding him on the cage, but like if Colby really gets his game plan right, it could be pretty dominant and people would be shocked,
Right. I'll be interested to see who the crowd's rooting for in Vegas.
Yeah, I don't know. People liked and don't like Colby, but Vegas seems like they would root for Leon if I had to guess. The fan base typically likes to make fun of Colby, and I get it.
I don't know. I think Colby's getting more popular now, but
well, yeah. When people understood that it wasn't like a fucking, it was it's a character that he's doing. People started to like him a lot more. But other tough part for Colby, he has no wins over current ranked fighters, which is just a tough look as well. And yeah, taking a 2-year break at the age of 35, I really question what improvements is he making at this point. And Leon clearly made the improvements in his last fight. He could be on a whole nother level for this one. And I do think that Colby didn't look as good in that Jorge fight versus his Usman fights. So I think even that gap affected him. So I don't know. Interesting matchup. Again, gonna go with the Leon side.
Right. Yeah, pretty much nailed it there.
All right. Leon Edwards by decision. All right, guys. The sunglasses are back on for the Son versus Gutierrez recap. Sweep. Hit the sweep on the card. Got to pull the sunglasses out. A little swag here. Yeah, plus 3.55 units. Starting it off, Kevin Jousset. Easiest bet. If you went back and listened to our breakdown or our bets where we talked about it, to a T, we broke down the video, or how the fight would go exactly. Just fighting behind the jab, using the kicks when needed. So, easy money there. Andre Muniz. I told you guys, pick'em price. It should be a pick'em. And, if anything, Muniz maybe a little bit of a favorite just because of the strength and the grappling and the size. Just bigger than Park. Wasn't really better than Park, just bigger than Park. And, I'm always shocked. How is this guy a jiu-jitsu guy if he can't lock up a body triangle or I don't know. I don't know, hold a position on the ground very well. He doesn't really have the best ground control for a jiu-jitsu guy, but again, plus 170 price tag on a guy who mostly out-controlled him. I mean, round one, it's kind of going either way. It's hard to score because it's like 3+ minutes of control for Muniz in round one, or 40 seconds of damage for Park, and the judges just don't know how to score that. And that's just an instance where it's an opinionated way you have to decide. I mean, most people, I think, an MMA community would go Jun Park because of damage, but if you reverse the role and you have Park do that damage in the first 40 seconds, and then Muniz to end the round on top, no matter what, that round goes to Muniz. So just think about that at times. But yeah, big underdog, hit him nice. And then Tyra, our parlay with Nashmento fell off. Got him at minus 450. Just dominant as always. Hopefully he fights Makayev. I think he beats him. And then prop bets got Melquizael Costa and Steve Garcia. Scared me with this one because the first round was just clinching and boring, and round two, Steve Garcia is just on a fucking mission to destroy these guys. But yeah, sweep. Again, this should have been plus 120 on that because that's what we had it last week before it got canceled. So hit that. Sonny Dawn just is absolutely fantastic. That dude is developing so well, and Chris Gutierrez did not deserve that. I know he's stepping in, but complained a lot in that fight, and then just decided to take himself to a decision to lose. Let's see, what other spots? I switched the pick to Edgar because of Luana Santos' weight gain, but I mean, who even cares? That's a chick fight. We don't really care. Rando Santos kind of threw her fight just by being inactive. And Jamie Malarkey got knocked out. Everyone kind of enjoyed that. So, yeah, guys, hopefully we continue this win streak in the UFC 294 or 296. And again, leave a like on the video, guys. Subscribe, and hopefully we'll make a sweep on this next one. So, all right, peace.
I know. It doesn't matter from the trenches. I'm built like this. The old doubted me said I couldn't do it. The old said I couldn't do it. Look at me now.